And now we give floor to the distinguished representative of the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela.
Mr. President, we join in this statement made by Uganda on behalf of the non-aligned movement countries. Mr. President, when the United Nations approved the partition of Palestine in 1947, that plan created two states, one Arab and one Jewish. The State of Israel was created in 1948, but the Arab state for the Palestinians was not. The Palestinians were not consulted on the stripping of their territory to create Israel, and they were put off with the promise of a national state, which never came. A free and sovereign Palestine state is contrary to the plans of annexation that Israel is currently implementing on the ground. For over 75 years, Israel has refused to recognize the existence of the Palestinian people as a nation with political rights and claims to have the right to veto through the United States to veto the existence of the Palestinian state. This de facto veto is a perverse incentive to continue with its plans of settlement expansion. Mr. President, Israel believes it's above the law and its behavior knows no bounds because it has the support of the Western powers led by the government of the United States. This framework of impunity has convinced Israel that it has a free pass in order to unleash a wave of violence using the strategy of covering one crime with another crime that's even greater. Even yesterday, just yesterday, the Prime Minister of Israel announced that they will attack the city of Rafah in Gaza, regardless of whether or not an agreement is reached for a ceasefire. The leaders of the Israeli regime do not hide their plans. They're proud of their atrocities, and they state loud and clearly their intention to redouble the massacres. Their disdain for international law is clear when, in partnership with the United States, Israel is implementing a campaign of coercion vis-a-vis the International Criminal Court to prevent it from investigating, as is its duty, investigating the genocide currently taking place in Gaza. From there, we cannot expect any action from Israel that would correct the current situation. Today, Israel is the most dangerous regime in the region because its recent history has convinced it that war consolidates its oppression over the Palestinian people. It's time to say to the world that a criminal state such as Israel has lost its capacity to prevent the recognition of Palestine as a full-fledged member of the United Nations. Mr. President, for all the aforementioned reasons, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela would like to indicate its support for the members of the Security Council that voted on 18 February in favor of the draft resolution recommending to the General Assembly the admission of Palestine as a full member state of the United Nations. It's a demonstration of the Palestinian people's right to freedom, self-determination, and independence. It's an act of decolonization to correct an injustice which should be a source of shame to us all. Unfortunately, in this historic vote, only the veto of the United States denied the Palestinians their approval as a full member state with full rights in the United Nations. Never had there been a vote which had been vetoed by opposition by the United States. It's clear now to the world that the main country which is the main obstacle to freedom of the Palestinian people and peace in the Middle East is the United States. The United States is the only country with the power, the real power to control the criminal conduct of Israel. And that's why it should stop and overcome its addiction to war. It's necessary to put an end to the fiction that Israel can violate international law without support of its sponsor. If the United States does not take action, in a responsible and rational manner under its international obligation as required by the current situation, it's running the risk that Israel will drag it into a conflict of even greater proportions. It's necessary for the United States to show its willingness to make a two-state solution a reality and that it fulfill its own words and international law. It's time to pay the historical debt of the partition plan of Palestine approved by the United States in this General Assembly 77 years ago. Thank you very much, sir.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela